Welcome back to Cryptos Are Us. I'm George. We're all George. So, today's looking pretty good so far. US market is opening and Bitcoin is disappearing at an alarming rate. And all-time soon is coming. So, let's talk about Bitcoin, why it's disappearing at such an alarming rate. And can we see a breakout today? We saw a little bit. Are we going to see more? Let's take a look. Welcome, 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 guys. Look at Bitcoin right now. Last night, when I was streaming, it looked a little bearish. But I told you guys never be bearish. Don't be scared out by the FUD. Don't be manipulated out by the whales or the market makers. And what a difference a night makes. So right now, Bitcoin's back to 52.3, but just half hour ago, we broke to 53,000, which is only like 600 points away from here. So remember, I said that even last night, I said, you know what? We've been hovering here for a while now, right? Over here, we've been hovering around this 52.3 mark for a while now, about a month now. It's about time to break past. And it looks like today may be that day because we just had a pretty good pump to 53,000. Can we see it again? Quite possibly. You can see we're above that 52.3 mark right now. Are we going to keep on going and make a new high for this year? So quite possibly. Let's see what happens. But what I do know is this. Those ETFs, those pesky ETFs, they're going to keep buying. That's why this rally is not going to stop. This momentum, this craziness, this parabolic rise is going to continue. And we're not even at the halving event yet. But I don't think it's going to stop, guys. I don't think it's going to stop. You know, U.S. market is open today. It's in the red, maybe turning in green. But yesterday I mentioned, well, yesterday was President's Day, so we didn't have the ETFs. We didn't have them buying, right? But they are buying, and they're buying by the boatload, right? Remember this. I showed this yesterday. Week 4, week 5, week 6. And I think you guys see the pattern. The buying is escalating. So this week, week 7, even without a full day, we only have 4 days of this week. We could see the buying surpass even week 6. Again, these guys are not stopping, guys. I keep telling you guys, they're not going to stop. They will keep on buying. In fact, Blackrock today, they have a new ad because they don't feel like they have enough. They feel like they need to get more people involved, more institutions involved, more retail investors involved. It's a pretty boring ad if you ask me, but this is what it is. Bitcoin ETFs have landed. iBit, the iShares Bitcoin Trust, now lets you access Bitcoin where you get your stocks and bonds so you can manage all of your investments in one place. Yeah, pretty boring. Pretty boring. Definitely not for Gen Z or Gen X or whatever new label there is. Probably for the millennials, which millennials are pretty old now. Anyways, yeah, so my point is this. BlackRock doesn't have enough, okay? They want more. They want more and more and more and more and more. And that's not going to stop. They want more customers. They want more buyers. They want more Bitcoin. That's what they want, okay? Especially since the appetite for Bitcoin is so large. Bitwise came out with this. They announced that there is a 30 billion advisor network. It's called Registered Investment Advisors. I guess they got $30 billion in this network of advisors, and they have been approved, which means, I guess, they could use that $30 billion and buy Bitwise ETF. Okay, Bitwise ETF is going up like crazy too. All of them are going up like crazy. It's not just BlackRock. BlackRock's leading the way with over $6 billion. But Bitwise is over $1 billion. ARK is like close to $2 billion. And then you got Fidelity at above 4, and then BlackRock above 6. So it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. And in case you're wondering, today's a lighter news day, so covering a few little things I've covered before. In case you're wondering, in terms of ETFs, in terms of, take ETFs back. In terms of overall holdings from the large boys, okay, the ETFs, the companies, the public trade companies, the countries. In case you're wondering, out of the total supply, these guys already hold over 10% of the overall supply. That's calculating out of 21 million, and we're not at 21 million. I don't know why it always calculates out of 21 million. It should calculate out of the circulating supply, which is around 19.5 million. So technically, they already hold more than 10%, way more like 14, 15%. And it just keeps on escalating, especially the ETF section, right? But MicroStrategy at 190,000, and you got all these other companies like Tesla and Block, and then you got some of the miners, right? But they add up. They add up quite a lot. MicroStrategy is above 10 billion once again. And then you have some countries, both US and China, hold $10 billion worth of Bitcoin confiscated. Even in Germany, I don't know when Germany got 50,000 Bitcoin, but they do, 2.6 billion. You have Ukraine, that's also around 2.5 billion. El Salvador, they've been buying. They're at 125 million. Finland somehow has 100 million worth of Bitcoin. I don't know where these countries came from in terms of how they accumulated. You have Mt. Gox, 200,000 at 10 billion, have not been distributed. Maybe one day, but you got others like Block One, who used to be behind EOS. They hold 7 billion worth of Bitcoin. Tether now holds 3.5 billion. BitMEX holds 1.9 billion. Tezos holds $1 billion. They raised all these during their ICO days. And then, of course, you got the ETFs. Grayscale, as much as they've been selling, 24 billion still. And then you got BlackRock at 6.3, Fidelity at 4.4. This one is out of Canada, or no, out of Finland or Swiss. I don't recognize that flag, but they're at 2.6 billion, and then ARK at 1.4. Purpose is out of Canada, 1.3. I mean, you guys get the picture, right? Bitcoin is disappearing at an alarming rate. And that's why all-time high is coming soon. And take a look at this. Bitcoin, it was a little bit higher because this was calculated at 52.7. Closing in on silver. The first time it broke silver's market cap, I said, like, did you guys think about, like, we dream about, someday Bitcoin being like 12 trillion above gold, right? Or 13 trillion now. So, but being above silver is pretty significant too. I said this before and I'll say it again, but like, think about actually a digital currency surpassing a precious metal that's been around for thousands of years, like silver. That's an amazing feat if you think about it, right? We're closing in. That will be the next stop. Then we will surpass gold. All right, so outside of these, what else is going on? South Korea is also looking to come out with Bitcoin spot ETFs, okay? And it's pretty significant because South Korea, they have a ton of traders and retail investors, okay? This actually compares Upbit, which is an exchange I've heard of but never used. But if you look at Upbit's volume, In fact, it has surpassed Coinbase for majority of 2023. Only recently in 2024 did Coinbase surpass their volume. That shows you how large they are. And then BitHum is also out of South Korea, and there's one other one. I mean, they're absolutely huge. So, point is, if they have so much retail interest already, they probably have a lot of institutional interest, which means ETFs, if it comes to South Korea, will be a big, big thing, right? Bitcoin accumulation hits new peak ahead of having 111,000 accumulate in 30 days. So again, everyone is accumulating. Everyone is accumulating these days. Do not be one of the ones that are left sitting on the sidelines. Soon, Bitcoin will be so high that retail investors will be priced out. Unfortunately, that's going to happen. As much as people think it's not going to happen, it's already happening. It's already happening. There's many people you talk to, you ask them about Bitcoin, they have no interest in that because they think it's too high. Even if they could buy fractional, they don't care. But we care. We understand. We want to accumulate as much as we can right now. There's a few charts, stock to flow, showing that, of course, you can see it's starting to turn a little purplish. Okay. That purplish is good. It's right before the deep orange or red. And that's when we start the parabolic run, right? But you could see the purple usually doesn't come this quickly. We're still like 2 months out from the halving event, right? But of course, things are escalating. That's why things are a little bit different right now. And then, of course, this shows you, yeah, we're not at the halving event. And what's going to happen after the halving event, I mean, it's pretty, I don't need to go over this anymore. You guys know, after the halving event is when the parabolic rise comes up. And who knows? Who knows where Bitcoin will be this cycle, right? 300,000, 250,000, we just don't know. We're guessing right now. But these ETFs, definitely they're an amplifier, and they will drive Bitcoin to levels that I don't even think we can guess right now. Well, we could guess, but it'll be insane. And lastly, the only thing that's significant in terms of other news, I know Ferrari started taking Bitcoin as payments. But if you're a Dogecoin millionaire, they'll take Dogecoin now too. That's surprising. Rather than take ETH, they decide to add Dogecoin. So I guess they're getting ready. They're thinking that this cycle, the Dogecoin millionaires that used to be millionaires, that are no longer millionaires, they will turn millionaires again, and they want to spend their Doge. So here's another place to spend Doge. Rather than buy Tesla whistles, you could buy whole Ferraris with Doge. So there's that. Hopefully they add, I don't know, ETH to it or Solana to their list or whatever their list, but they're doing it right ahead of the parabolic rise. All right, that is pretty much it. Bitcoin, a little volatility this morning. Shot up to 53, now we're below 52, but I have a feeling that we're getting ready to break through this once and for all. And that's when things will be even more explosive. So strap on and get ready. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, let me scroll up. Let's see. Move over here. Raul, $10 super chat, appreciate it. And then another super chat. Do you think the retailers that sold did so because they want to buy ETFs to avoid managing their own keys or for tax purposes? I don't know. For tax purposes, not really. You would have to sell before December 31st. You can't sell it now. So I think just a lot of retail people just sold because they want to get into alts, or they just got fearful and thinking that this may be the top. I honestly think that's the reason. Those are the reasons why. I don't think they sold it to convert to ETFs. That would be kind of silly. And they just definitely didn't sell it for tax reasons. Private Mike, appreciate that. RNGRC crypto, RNG crypto, I think. I tagged you on a tweet about the CEO of Gala having said that he just signed the most important contract of his life, TBA today. That could just be total clickbait. He needs to tweet about how the founders stop suing each other. That's what he needs to tweet. Not like he just signed the most important contract of his life. That could be like that could be divorce papers or something, and he could consider it the most important contract of his life. Pilot Mark, is Sol just taking a breather? Yes. How long will it go? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. Don't ask me questions like that. Do you feel anything about H-bar? You know, Christian, I just talked about H-bar last night. They actually had a good pump. They have a good, like, $389 million to spend. And they have karate combat. These are all good things. The crypto Remora, good morning. Is Axie Infinity still up? Is it? You tell me. You tell me if Axie Infinity is still up. You can look it up. It's holding. I gotta say, that's quite impressive. It's holding at 1 billion, but it's certainly nowhere close to its previous high. Man, they are down from 150s down to $8. They were so hot. They were so hot. I know Southeast Asian countries, people were playing Axie as their full-time job. But now I don't know. Sydney asked the question twice. What's your motivation to want to wake up every day and create great content for us? That's a good question. You know how I view it in my mind? There's two things that gets me a little bit. One is, even though sometimes I don't want to wake up or stream twice a day, I think about this. Would I rather be doing this versus having a 9-to-5 job? And the answer is hell yes. So I think about how much time I spend preparing for these streams and streaming versus the time I would be spending commuting and going to a job and commuting again. And I have it very good. So I think about that and I'm like, stop complaining. Just go do it. I honestly think that's the number one thing I think. Whenever I get discouraged and I feel tired, I'm like, man, I do not want to stream. There's nothing to talk about, or I'm just so tired. I think about what are you complaining about versus what you used to do, which is drive and work and drive for 10, 11 hours a day. Stop complaining. So that's number one. And number two is I realized that this is a competition. YouTube is a competition. A lot of people don't see it that way, but it is. And if you're not first, you're last. The Bradbury says, I bet you $1,000 you won't read this comment. I did, so now you owe me $1,000. I'm going to pin your message on top of this chat. So now everyone sees that comment. So I would like to have my $1,000 super chat, please. The random vid, just got my 992 Carrera 4S. That's an awesome car, man. That's an awesome car. That's a pretty expensive car too. Before, I used to think only the turbo and GT3s were expensive, but Carrera 4S, that's over 100,000 too. Congratulations. The new Porsches, love the back ends of them. The 911s, they look awesome. Where's that 1K, Bradbury? I see he has just gone silent. Have you looked at liquid finance yet? With Cardano having its first DeFi cycle, they prime for takeoff. Better tech and model than all lending on ADA. No, I have not. Honestly, I have not looked at that many dApps on Cardano. So these are leading ones here. You got Singularity, Cornucopias, Lenfi, Sneck is up here, Hunt, which I'm assuming is another meme, and then I don't know what FLDL is. Or is that liquid finance? I don't even see liquid finance here in one of their lists. So they must be really, really, really small. But I'm not paying attention. RNG crypto. But Singularities, man, their volume is pretty darn high. I'm lost on Ryoshi Vision token and Ryoshi L2 token from Shiba. Any thoughts? I did not hear that they came out with more tokens. I hate both of these, but I'm curious on what your opinion is. If you hate both of them, why are you asking me? It's like asking me, what's your opinion of, your two most dreaded foods or cars? But out of the two, I would say I like Cardano better than Polkadot. Dump truck crypto. Any research on Pandoshi yet? No. It's on Sol. Never heard of it. It's like no. It's like nothing. I'm assuming it's some kind of meme. Ivan, is it that time of the month? The best time for Cock and Kulo to join up? Well, maybe. Maybe it could happen in the future. The two pairing would be hilarious. But right now, they're kind of separate from their... They're separate because of their ecosystem, because of Avalanche and Polygon. I wish Polygon would get more exciting. You know, Polygon seems like it would be a good chain to get some degening things going on. They have so many NFTs, but I think the problem is they work with so many brands, and those brands probably don't want to become too degens. But it would be nice. Would you move to Puerto Rico or Miami? I would consider moving to Miami, but not really. Out of the two, I would say Miami, not Puerto Rico. I've heard from others that have moved to Puerto Rico and then they moved back because they said it's just not a good place to live. Miami, I don't know. It's too much of a party town. I don't know if I would enjoy living there. I like to visit there, you know, but I don't know about living there. Any feelings on Gala? Someone just asked me about that. I guess the CEO of Gala tweeted that he signed the most important contract of his life, whatever that means. But I don't know. I like Miami. If you want to party, go to Miami, not Vegas. You know, people always say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I think that's more suitable for Miami. Pat, AR going up lately. I covered them last night. Arweave, they're doing good things. They're doing something. They're implementing an upgrade in 7 days. Something that allows parallelism. So it's like you could do data retrievals or data storing or data fetching in parallel. It's supposed to make things a lot more efficient. And they still have some good partnerships, so I like them. But also Filecoin's been going up too. A lot of decentralized storage plays have been moving. Brian D, I have 50K. I want to start a simple 5 to 7 coin portfolio with. Other than BTC, what would you recommend and how would you allocate? See, I'm not your financial advisor, man. I think a lot of you guys mistake me as a financial advisor for you, and I can't give you financial advice. You have to decide what to populate your portfolio with. Pay attention to the coins I cover. Pay attention to what I talk about. Then you can decide. How often do I drink at home? Rarely. When I go out, all the time. But like at home, I rarely drink. Besides like a beer or two on, you know, with you guys. That's it. Bob Freeze, how would you know that? And what would make you want to search up that? What will happen when there's no more BTC for institutional buying? Well, Bitcoin will be like, you know, at a ridiculous level. I don't think we have to worry about that yet. It'll be like above $1 million. How is Lightning Network adoption, mass adoption yet? You know, that's an interesting question. I have not seen any recent updated graphs about Lightning Network. There are still a lot of you know, payment networks that use it, obviously, and it's being implemented more. Like Coinbase Commerce wants to implement Lightning Network, and I know Strike already has it, Cash App has it. I think Binance was trying to implement it. So it's growing. It's just not quite there yet. Gala CEO just wrote in Discord they're waiting for legal's approval before announcing. Seems to do with Gala Music. See, that's just disappointing. First of all, they don't need another token for music. And second of all, it shows that they're being distracted. You know, they're a gaming platform, and all of a sudden they want to go into movies and now music, right? How about get really good at gaming first, then try to, you know, diversify? So that also doesn't sit well with me. That, you know, they're trying to get into too many things when they haven't perfected the first thing yet. They could be a total dominant powerhouse in gaming if they just spent all their efforts on it. T Sharp, you're welcome. Can Miro do a 50x from his current price? Where are they now? I mean, there's a chance they could, but will they? I don't know. 50x is a lot, my friend. You know, doing like a 20x, 25x would be amazing already. To do a 50x, that's a little bit too much. It could happen, but they're already pretty big. If this was, Miro was like 10 million, then yeah, 50x is possible, but this is a little bit more harder, let's just say. Man, I'm waiting for us to break 53 today. This obviously was some kind of buying, right? Like BlackRock or whoever decided to fill their bags with more Bitcoin. They needed to. This will probably due to, again, the market makers trying to short out all the leverage plays, like people that threw a lot of longs here. This was to like liquidate them. Now let's see if we can build back up. By the end of today, if we could get back up to 53 and break beyond, man, it's going to be glorious. Gary Gensler. George, everyone tells me we need to dump before pump. If not, we'll go drop huge, like 50% now. How do you think about that? Whoever you're listening to, stop listening to him. That's what I would say. Because there's nothing that says we need to drop before we go up. In fact, we did drop. I don't know if you paid attention. We dropped yesterday. We dropped like a week ago. So whoever you say, everyone, I'm not part of everyone, but whoever everyone else is that you're listening to, you should probably stop listening to them. Fate says, can you read my message on the Grayscale site nav? What's your message? What are you talking about? Larry Wilson, 58 years old, got into crypto at 15,000, retired early. Wow, you retired. Man, that's like, well, that's 4x, right? I don't know how much you put into it, but man, congratulations. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Gary, that's your problem right there. That's your problem right there. And one person does not constitute everyone, like you said. Shane says, it seems we're already to a point that the only real hope of life-changing wealth is hit on a microcap. Good gains to be had in big mid, but not life-changing wealth. Well, sort of. It depends on your definition of life-changing wealth. If you only have like $100 in the market and you're expecting life-changing wealth by buying Bitcoin, yeah, you're not going to see it. You still need to have significant amounts, right? But yeah, if you're trying to make like $1 million with, say, $1,000, you're not going to get it from the big caps or Bitcoin. You're going to have to resort to small caps and try to chase 100x. But again, you don't have to make $1 million or millions of dollars in one cycle. You know, there's many cycles. Every cycle is only 4 years. Within 10 years, you're almost at 3 cycles. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Sometimes rushing it actually make things worse, a lot worse. A lot of people look at how much money other people are making, or they're fed up with their jobs and they're risking it all and they try to rush things. Usually when it comes to investing, if you rush things, you really, really rush things, you screw up and you end up worse. So try not to do that. So even if you don't make your millions this cycle, my point is, even if you don't make it, you make a good amount, whatever it may be. Let's say you turn $1,000 into $10,000 or $5,000 into $50,000. Well, then you could use that $50,000 and turn it into $500,000 or $5 million the next cycle. You know, you build up from there. Brian, George, should I still hold on to XRP? I don't know if you're like serious with that question. I don't get anyone asking me about XRP these days. In case you are, I mean, it just really depends on how much of your portfolio is dedicated to XRP. Man, this is painful. I purposely added to 90 days. Bitcoin and Ethereum about even. Surprising to see Ethereum actually outperform Bitcoin in the last 90 days, but you can see both under 50%. BNB even, which is one of the slowest moving coins out there, up 50% in the last 90 days. Solana up 96%, right? And XRP is down 5% since 90 days ago. So if you're an XRP holder, you missed out on 96% from Solana. You missed out even 68% from Cardano. Cardano is also very slow moving. You missed out on 91% Avalanche. Even Doge. Doge never moves. Even Doge is up 15% in the last 90 days. And everything else is up quite tremendously. Well, besides like Litecoin, which also sucks, and Toncoin, which, I don't know, they're manipulated. But everything else is up majorly. Okay, so again, if you're holding on to XRP, you're losing out on triple percentage gains. Double to triple percentage gains. Like, this is how painful it is to be an XRP holder. Onyx Coin XCN. $46 million. That's not bad. Earn, borrow, and build with Onyx. Multi-token type money market. Not something I'm particularly interested in. Let's just put it that way. Now they're down 7% in the last 90 days. Yeah, that's no good. Rex is asking, how much is the market likely to go down before the halving? I just don't see any significant downs. I mean, we have seen it. We see these like 3 to 5% drops. We have seen a lot recently. And I think normally, if it wasn't for ETFs, maybe we would have seen another major drop, like from our 52 level down to like 45 level or 40 level. Maybe we see one of those huge dips and then we come back up. But the reason why we're not seeing it is because these ETFs are buying hundreds of millions of Bitcoin per day. Like, how can things go down when you add $3 billion worth of Bitcoin, to these funds per week? Like, it doesn't, there's just not enough. There's not enough selling to make that happen. The buying will continue, right? And at this point, the whales or the market makers, they know that. Like, if they try to drop too much, they're not going to be able to buy back because these ETFs will just buy it all. So I don't know. I just don't see any significant drops from here to the halving event. I don't. Eric, I got into Beam about 3 months ago based on a recommendation. Due to its recent leg up, is it worth the DCA or wait for a pullback? Can I still 10x from here? It can 10x from here, but it's going to take a while. It might not be the end of the year. Or maybe it could 10x by the end of the year. But Beam has done very, very well. Very well indeed. I don't know. It's something that I think is a great hold. And I think it's going to have a bright future. I try not to time it. If you're wondering like, oh, should I sell now and then wait for a pullback and buy back? Usually when you do that, you lose out. So I would say if you're enjoying your gains, then enjoy them. Render almost at all-time high. CEO talking in the NVIDIA conference. We'll see what they do. They have surprised me. I will say this. I've never been a Render fan. And I'll admit to that. I've always said I didn't like their system. It didn't make any sense when they were on Ethereum, right? GPU sharing and at that time when they came out, it was nothing about AI. It was just about processing graphical data or something like that. But now they're trying to move into the AI space. With AI being as hot as it is, if they could fully transition to being an AI play where you can rent GPUs to process AI rendering or whatever, AI data or whatever, if they could fully transition, then they would be a monster in this space. They're already doing good, but they could be even bigger. Perry says, my bag is 100% XRP. Which dump truck would you recommend buying? I hope that's not real. Can't buy 2 whole Bitcoins for 100K now. That's right. You can't. You need over 100K to buy 2 whole Bitcoins. That's why people that have been accumulating and got to 1 whole Bitcoin is so significant. It's so big. People don't realize it. But it is so hard now to own one Bitcoin, to be a whole coiner. It's not virtually impossible, but it is impossible for so many around the world. Even people that make well into 6 figures, making $250,000 a year, a lot of people even then can't even afford 1 Bitcoin because they're living paycheck to paycheck. Do I speak a second language? I can speak Mandarin a little bit, at least, you know, a little bit, but not like in a conversation. I could hold my own. I think. I don't know. It's been. I used to be better, but at least I understand most part. I can't. I can't really follow news reports. They're just like too quick, and there's too many words now. So. Can you explain who market makers are? Who are they? How do they work together and manipulate market? They could do a lot of stuff, man. They're just companies that have a lot of holdings. And a lot of times exchanges are market makers too. Exchanges are, and there are certain just companies. You know, they could be like a VC or something, but they're also a market maker. So that just means that they have a ton of liquidity and they can manipulate markets with it. And it's hard to prove, because they're very good at what they do. Ethan, I'm a big fan of Immutable. And they have been doing very well. They've been climbing the charts. They're actually, look at, man, they're so high. I didn't even realize they were this big. They're 21 and 4.6 billion, man. I've been a big fan. I said gaming is going to be a thing, right? Immutable, Beam, Avalanche, they're all going to be carried by gaming this year. And Immutable have been climbing the charts. Good for them. But yeah, I think you can't ignore that. They're going to be huge. Jan says, how do you think alts will behave? Bitcoin won't be making cycles. It just keeps on going up forever. Well, first of all, it's going to level out sometime. And it may take breathers. But I think ETFs will just bring so much money into the space. And eventually that money will trickle down into alts. And alts will explode too. Alts are more like Web3, right? The new dApps, new platforms, they're all Web3 based. So I think Web3 is going to get hotter. And Bitcoin is separate. Bitcoin is just a store of value. I see Bitcoin as the greatest store of value there is. Are there any up-and-coming DEXs you like besides Jupiter? Not DEXs, but there's one, Stride. Stride is a liquid staking platform within Cosmos. I have not paid too much attention on them recently, but I think they could do well. Especially they're giving out airdrops to Celestia, so that's kind of interesting. But that's another one I'm looking at. Why is ADA circuit supply so high? It's is it? No, it's 1.18. Not really. All right, guys. To conclude, Bitcoin is disappearing at an alarming rate. That's not going to stop. Today, BlackRock and others are buying more. Okay, and it's going to continue. It's going to keep on continuing, guys. It's not going to stop ever. So don't let these guys take away all your Bitcoin. Continue to hold strong. DCA if you can. And let the life-changing wealth come to you. All right? Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.